Professional career or business? One of the key questions that comes up for us women in our 30s at some point in our careers. And it has to do with the fact that we either already have a family or want to have a family, or we want more fulfillment out of our work life. Either more flexibility, more recognition, more satisfaction, or simply meaning from what we do. And now let's talk about it. Reflecting back on my transition from the corporate world into entrepreneurship, and then having been working with a lot of women in their 30s where they face the very same question at some point in their lives. And what I'm finding is that the key arguments for career, for example, are around stability of income, recognition. I have studied within the field. I want to be recognized for my efforts, and it really a lot of us attach a lot of value for being externally recognized. And 3, outlook into the future. The more I stay within that field, or the more I stay within the professional career, the more positive outlook I have, because I will have the income that I actually desire for the life that I want to have. Now, if we are to look on the other side of that same coin and say, is it really stable? Now, knowing about globalization, knowing about AI, and that changes the nature of work, that changes the demands we have for the jobs. Some jobs will disappear, some jobs will be completely redefined and will need different skills to be able to stay within the field. So now if you think about that, you then start to think about, what do I require to stay relevant? What skills do I need now, and what skills will I need in the future to be relevant within the field that I'm working at now? And then you think about rise of remote work. Suddenly you're no longer competing with the local market. Suddenly you are competing with the global market, and the skill set that perhaps is available at your market can always be outsourced in the markets where those skills are much cheaper. And arguably most of employers are now choosing that option because it allows them to get the same skills for a lower price, therefore freeing up the budget to be invested somewhere else. And suddenly you realize that stability might not be as stable, and the outlook into the future might not be the same without considering those factors. Now, if we are to look into the business and having a business, starting a business, the key reasons why we go into the business are flexibility, freedom, and being our own boss, therefore being in control of our lives. So if we are to look on the other side of that same coin, there is an argument to be made that flexibility, while yes, your business can be structured around your life, your business or you need to show up. You need to have the structure to deliver and execute. It can't be a randomized activity, and there are a lot of misconceptions around that. Suddenly I go into the business, I do it whenever I feel like it, but my income is nowhere near as what my corporate income was. And suddenly you're comparing apples and pears. And then again, freedom. Perhaps, and what I found for myself is that yes, the freedom that is what I'm getting to now after 5 years of being in business, after 5 years of working and structuring the business in the way that it will allow me to have freedom, but it's not freedom from the start. And for me personally, I have been working hard in my corporate world. I work hard in my business, and there wasn't a lot of freedom to start with. And that's also a misconception. When we go into the business, we feel like we'll have a lot of freedom. We usually end up trading our 40-week job for 60, 70, 80-hour week entrepreneurship journey, but it does worth it. And then again, talking about the control, being your own boss, the business, you will have to grow into being in control, because initially, the initial stages of business, that's where you're figuring out what to do, what you are as an entrepreneur, or what it means to be a business owner. So there's a lot of not control, a lot of things that you can control, and a lot of things that you can't predict because you simply don't have experiences in that. But with time, you do realize what you're really going for. You realize what the skill set you have, what the skill set you need, and what the business requires, so that you become a business owner working on your business, not in your business. So now when we're looking at career business, I would say perhaps the better question would be to ask is, do you have to choose? And that is where now the rise of corporate career portfolios comes into place, where you no longer need to choose one from other. Therefore, you mitigate the risk, you diversify your income streams, and you create that foundation for yourself into the future. And having a portfolio career simply means having, let's say, a stable employment income, and then starting your side venture. And as you go further, you then, throughout the journey, you start shifting, you start having transitions, whether it's becoming a freelancer or whether it's expanding your business, but you always have different streams of income on the side. And that is something that I don't see quite a lot on internet quite yet, but I know that trend is coming, and it's better to be prepared, better to consider, and really help yourself get ready for the future. And now then there's another thing that I'd like to share and discuss with you, is that the opportunity cost. The opportunity cost is always there. You simply, once you choose one thing, you forgo the other. So if you choose the career, you perhaps forgo the business ownership. But the reality here is, it's crucial to recognize that opportunity cost is always you choosing between one thing that you want and the other thing that you want. But what you want to do is, you want to make a choice that eliminates the other. Decide and commit to it 100%, because otherwise you are setting up yourself for being unhappy, because you constantly keep that option open. Or should I've gone for business, or why did I leave my career? And instead of making progress and creating momentum in being within the professional field, or having a business, or having a corporate career, you end up isolating and being unhappy, thinking that the other option could be better. Well, the reality is you don't know. So decide, commit to it 100%, and really give it the best chance possible. And if it doesn't work, you can choose the other option and then commit to that. Now, if you recognize that having a portfolio career, adding an additional income stream, or starting a business venture on the side will allow you to mitigate the risk that AI and globalization are bringing to the employment world, and you would like to diversify your income at the same time as increasing your chances for success and creating the stability with guidance, then get in touch by following the link in the description below, and we'll be able to discuss how you can start creating that predictability and stability going into the future with the side venture.